guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for tonight's video, we're going to be reading some more scary stories. I have a candle lit in the room to add the extra coziness and spookiness. This look that I did will be up on my short section and my TikTok and my Instagram. So if you guys are interested in following along with that spooky story while I do my makeup, it'll be posted on all of my social media. So you can definitely go check that out. I am going to be reading just personalized scary stories from you guys, and I have a couple here that I have saved and I'm ready to jump into them. The first story that I'm going to read is from the paranormal section. It's from the Reddit author kid_moth, and it's titled, "My partner saw two of me. What does this mean?" So today, my boyfriend told me about something super bizarre. He was telling me about how he got up early in the morning because he needed to use the washroom. When he got out and looked down the hall, he claimed to have seen me sitting on the couch in an awkward and rather uncomfortable looking position. My back was to him and I was wearing a common outfit of mine, blue jeans with a green tank top. He thought it was weird that I was sitting on the couch fully dressed at 5 in the morning, but figured I just probably couldn't sleep and decided to get ready early. He, on the other hand, was exhausted. So he went to return to our shared room and he found me still sleeping in bed. He stepped out of the room again and saw the other me sitting on the couch, and then he looked at me also sleeping in our bed. He immediately woke me up to tell me about it, and when he went out to investigate, the other me on the couch was completely gone without a trace. I'm not sure what this means or who was sitting on the couch, but I'm rather unsettled by it. My best guess was it was some kind of mimic, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't know how to deal with it. That honestly sounds like a glitch in the Matrix. I don't know what to tell you, but it's really unsettling that that happened. And I would probably consider moving, because maybe your house is also haunted. It could be a mimic. That's really uncomfortable. I hate that for you so much. The next one that I'm going to read is from the True Scary Story section, and it's from the Reddit author Salad Goats, and it's titled, "My Paranormal Experiences." Hello, since I posted a story about my dog man encounter in BC years ago, I will include that story at the end of this one. I was asked a couple of times to expand on my paranormal encounters, and I decided I would put a full story together in order as best as I can remember. None of these stories are fictional or exaggerated. These are all my paranormal experiences and weird moments of my life. My paranormal experiences started when I was roughly 6 years old. My first experience was very unexpected since at that point in life, I didn't really know about the paranormal or anything about spirits. One evening, I was watching TV by myself in the living room while my parents were napping. As I was watching, I suddenly felt a chill at the back of my neck, followed by what felt like someone pushing a firm single finger straight into the top of my shoulder. As that happened, simultaneously, I heard someone whisper, "Hello," right behind my ear. At that, I sprinted into my parents' room, telling them I heard someone whispering in my ear and that someone was in the house. They completely brushed me off and didn't even check the rest of the house. To this day, I wonder if this event somehow opened me up to all the years of events that have followed. After this incident, unexplainable things started to happen in the house. My stepdad liked to scare me from time to time, and he would hide in my closet before bed and poke at my feet to scare me. One night before bed, I checked my closet and closed it, knowing no one was in there. Not long after I lay down, I could hear the door of my closet sliding open. When I looked at the dark crack in the closet, I saw red eyes staring back at me. I ran, flicked on the lights, and opened the door, thinking my stepdad was in there trying to scare me again, but no one was in there, and the eyes were gone. Another experience I would have frequently involved the bathroom. When I took a bath, I would always see the same red eyes from the closet in the vent above the bathtub watching me. It made me extremely uncomfortable, and I spent most of my time throwing a wet cloth at the vent. Usually, whenever it hit dead on the eyes, they would disappear. Until the next time I had a bath, that was. Another time, my older brother and I were hanging out playing games. He asked me to go upstairs to grab him a couple of ice cubes because he likes to eat them. And I was walking up the stairs, I looked up towards the railing that overlooked the downstairs. Standing there, leaning onto the wooden railing, was a figure dressed in a long, heavy-looking robe. Its face was shrouded in darkness, and I couldn't see any defining features. I don't know why, but I continued walking up the stairs, and I noticed that it was moving. The entity stopped leaning on the railing and began mimicking my movements on the stairs in reverse. Every step I took up, it would take one step backwards. When I reached the top of the stairs, the figure had made it to the doorway to our kitchen, where it now stood. It glanced in my direction and vanished right before my eyes. What the fuck? I saw this figure more times while I lived at this property. Another time, I was upstairs on the computer playing World of Warcraft, which had recently been released. As I was playing, I started to hear cracking sounds, like someone cracking their knuckles. I thought I was alone in the house at the time, so it struck me as odd. I got up and I opened the door to the hallway leading to the same staircase to the kitchen area. When I opened the door, the figure was standing at the end of the hall. It wasn't looking at me though, but I could hear the cracking sound, realizing it was coming from it. I slammed the door shut and I locked it. About 10 seconds after shutting the door, I heard strange sounds that I don't even know how to describe. It was followed by what sounded like the door being pushed hard, like as if some big gust of wind had just hit it. To this day, I have no idea who or what that was, why it was there, or why it was trying to connect with me. I also wonder if this entity might be the same one with the red eyes I had previously mentioned. Was it getting closer to me somehow? The next part, I was unsure about leaving in, but since I'm describing my weird upbringings, I might as well. I'm not sure if this person contributed to the weirdness I experienced, but she definitely pushed my brother and me to seek answers on our own, and you'll see why. My babysitter, I'm going to omit her name, was someone who had connections to our family. Her sister worked on our farm and had her own horse stable there, so her mother often came along. After a while of her being around, she ended up becoming our sitter. Not long after she started sitting for us, she told us that she was a witch. She showed us really old Polaroid photos of her and her 2 other people performing some kind of ritual with symbols carved into a table that they sat at. She also showed us things she could do, like move objects around without touching them. For a long time, I thought it was just a fun story and tricks, but one day, I went inside from playing in the garage and made my way upstairs where she was preparing dinner. She was unaware that I was nearby, and I witnessed one of our knives on the counter slide about 2 feet across straight into her hand, and she just continued cutting as if nothing abnormal had just happened. She never saw that I noticed, and I never brought it up. But what that sparked in me was curiosity. Because of that, I started researching black magic. After looking around online with my brother, we stumbled onto some website that gave directions on how to perform rituals. And so, we attempted one. We went outside, drew a pentagram and fallen leaves, placed a statue in the middle, and began to read off the ritual words that he had written down. It was at this moment that our sitter looked outside, saw what we were doing, and ran out, screaming for us to stop. She started kicking the leaves everywhere and taking the statue we had placed. She scolded us, saying we had no idea what we were playing with and never to do something like that again. Not long after, she stopped sitting for us, and sadly, she passed away not too long after that. While this part wasn't necessarily paranormal, I think the context is needed to understand how my upbringing was and how these events may have created a domino effect. One thing was for sure, my sitter had an interest in the occult. My last experience at this property was more tame, but still creepy. I was getting ready for school one morning, and as I went to grab my hair comb, it just flicked off the counter and hit the wall behind me. I know it didn't just fall either. This brings us to the end of the first house before we move to rural BC near Lone Boot. I would like to note that these experiences so far are just the ones I could easily remember. They don't include the noises I would hear, voices saying my name when no one was home, shadows of people in my peripherals, and the feeling of being watched or sometimes touched. At this point in my life, we had packed up and moved about 5 hours north of the outskirts of Lone Boot, BC, about 20 minutes drive from our place. The property we moved to sat on was roughly 100 acres of woodland, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and our closest neighbors were a good distance away. My first major experience at this house was with my brother, who was very skeptical, and my stepsister. We were watching The Grudge at the time, and all of a sudden, the upstairs closet started violently slamming open and closed for well over a few minutes. This terrified all of us, and we didn't know what to do, so we just ran outside and waited for our parents to come back home. I did end up going back inside to grab shoes since the gravel was hurting my feet. And when I went inside, I poked my head around the corner towards the living room just as the scene in The Grudge played, where it's a close-up of her eyeball rolling from the back of her head to stare at you. I always found the timing to be too perfect. It's almost comical. But at that time, it scared me to death, and I did not want to go back inside after that. One night, I was in the hot tub on the deck outside just watching the woods, taking in the silence. It was wintertime, and we just recently had a snowfall that left around knee-height deep of snow. It was around 2 to 3 in the morning, and out of nowhere, this very large wolf, bigger than one I've ever seen, came out of the woods. I remember its coat being a shimmering silver and its bright, piercing green eyes. At this, the wolf was walking along the fence of our paddocks. It locked eyes with mine and just kind of stared at me as it walked past. Both alone in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere. What happened next to this day instantly makes my spine shiver. As the wolf walked past, he walked towards our barn with our horses in it. It became darker as it entered the barn, but on the other side of the barn still had bright light illuminating the outside so I could still see clearly. The wolf, as it entered halfway, though it went from shape to a wolf to a very large, broad-shouldered man. The horses didn't make a single sound at this person that now stood roughly 7 feet tall, walked down the rest of the hall and rounded the corner towards the open field, but didn't emerge from the other side. I never saw it again. My brother had his own encounter with the same wolf, I'm guessing. He told me that he woke up randomly one night from the feeling of being watched. He then looked out his window to see a very large wolf walking away from his window. So I'm guessing it was watching him sleep. I'm going to end it off here. I do have more paranormal stories and some UFO stories, but it's more just subtle, creepy experiences, and this story is getting way too long. I wanted to highlight the major ones I felt may contribute to these experiences happening to me growing up. All of those are really fucking creepy. The Wolfman at the end is very interesting. I wonder what that is. It could be a Wendigo, it could be an SW. I don't actually know, but thank you so much for allowing me to read your stories. Those stories are all so freaking bizarre. Holy crap, you definitely had a very interesting childhood. Holy crap. The last story that I'm gonna read is from the Paranormal Encounter section, and it is from the Reddit author witty_ad9073, and it's titled, I Saw a Faceless Man. I've had a handful of paranormal experiences throughout childhood and adulthood, deceased relatives visiting me, and even lived in a haunted house. Nothing malevolent, a kind previous owner passed away in his dream home. I didn't really mind it. But what happened last night was a first. I was driving my boyfriend home and it was around 7 p.m. He lives in a house in a residential neighborhood in Los Angeles. About 2 blocks away from his house, I saw a man in a hoodie standing completely still in front of a fenced house. I did a double take, but he was paying attention to an audiobook that I was listening to. I mentioned it to my boyfriend and he said he didn't see anything. I dropped him off and I kissed him goodbye. I made a U-turn and decided to pass the same house to ease my mind. Knowing I saw at least a resemblance of a face would help me know that my imagination wasn't just getting away from me. This time, I drove a bit slower. As I passed the man in the hoodie again, I let my side of my highlights illuminate the space where the face should be. And he had no face. I don't mean darkness where a face should have been. I mean a blurred out, flesh-toned fucking face. I got a safe distance away and I pulled over to text my boyfriend. I asked specifically, had you not seen him because you just weren't paying attention? Or did you really just not see anyone there? He said he had his head up and was looking around as we were driving and didn't see anything. I have been meditating and accessing my personal psyche abilities this and last year, mostly self-work, cleansing, and grounding exercise. Did I see a full materialization of a spirit? A demon? Did it follow me? I can't share this with my parents because they are very Catholic, and anytime I've talked about an experience, they get uncomfortable. I don't want to freak my boyfriend out. We have a solid relationship, and although I know I can talk to him about anything, I don't want him or my family to worry about me. I would love some feedback. I have no feedback for you. That is fucking terrifying. Let's see what your comments say. My girlfriend and I went to a small, quaint fishing port and checked out a cheap motel. We ate pizza and went to bed. The next morning, I woke up to find 2 women beside me. Yeah, I know, it sounds like every man's fantasy, but I was confused and my girlfriend was sleeping on the left side of me. I turned to the right and I tried to see the stranger's face. Her face was blurry and gave me an extreme anxiety. I suddenly woke up again and she was not there. I could have simply been a nightmare, but anyway, this motel gives me the chills whenever I talk about it. So another person saw just like a flesh-toned face? What the fuck? My father grew up in Hawaii and would tell us this. The Lady with No Face is a ghost story centered around a faceless woman often seen in Waikiki, appearing in mirrors, elevators, or even the beach. Said to be a woman with no facial features, startling those who encounter her. Her story is considered one of the most chilling urban legends of the island, with some believing she is a spirit seeking recognition or laminating a tragic past that left her disfigured. Key points about the Lady with No Face. Primarily seen in Waikiki, a popular tourist area in Hawaii. Appearance, a woman with no visible facial features, sometimes described as a ghostly white figure. Often appears in mirrors, elevators, and even out of the open on the beach. Possible origin stories. Some believe the story stems from a woman who suffered a terrible disfigurement in life, leaving her to haunt the areas as a faceless entity. So apparently a lot of people have seen this. I'm gonna have to look into the faceless entity because I've never really heard of that. That is terrifying. Holy crap. So I don't know about that one. I can't really give you any advice, but that's freaking terrifying. I would love to know if you have an update. Did you see it again? Have you ever seen it again? Did it follow you? What was it? I have so many questions. But this is where I'm gonna end the video. If you guys did make it to the end of the video, please leave me your favorite spooky emoji in my comment section. It allows me to know that you guys made it to the end of the video, but it also helps boost my video on the algorithm. Any engagement helps. If you guys like this video, share it around, like, comment, subscribe, any of the above will really help my channel grow. So please feel free to leave me a comment down below. Even if you wanna just leave me a comment telling me about your day, that would be great too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.